Hello, welcome to the introduction video for CIT Networks 3. This is the web page. These are the announcements. As you can see, it's a super broadcast address. Show start, a command in Cisco that's going to have the welcome screen along with the FAQ. And then show course syllabus. This says course syllabus with all the details, all the facts, all the details, on my schedule, the course schedule. And there's a PDF version, which is much better formatted than this version. I did my best to format this thing, but it didn't want to format all that correctly, so there's weird highlights and everything. But the PDF is properly formatted. Okay, that's the source material. So let's get started. Well, again, welcome. The whole point of this course it's going to be very Cisco based. Down the road, I'd like to add more vendors, but Cisco's certainly the first place to start. It's been around for a very long time. It's very influential, has a large market share, and therefore its influence is felt greatly in many different network device operating systems. Juniper, for example, it was founded by two ex-Cisco engineers. Now, their operating system, Junos, Junos, isn't exactly like iOS, not all that much like iOS, but you can feel the core of iOS in many parts of the operating system. It feels like an improvement of iOS. It doesn't feel like a completely different operating system. So it is good to know iOS. From my experience, like Dell's operating system, HP's operating system tend to feel much like iOS. So we'll be focusing a lot this semester on Cisco Ios, and I feel my goal is to get you comfortable with the inner networking operating system, which it was called. I think they just simply call it Cisco Ios now. So Cisco Ios, which they've had the name around since the early 80s. So it's it's theirs to have, not Apple's. But anyway, so Cisco Ios, which is their operating system, which is their primary operating system on their switches and their routers. They do not have it. They also have another operating system, which we might touch on, called the NXOS, Nexus operating system. That's very much feels like iOS. There are differences, annoyingly so, actually, as someone that used to work on a Nexus system. But it again, by having a strong root in iOS, it makes that operating system easier to learn. All right. So this is the video that I'm making. So please view this video, which you are currently viewing. So know this most of all. There are two important dates, and this is true throughout all my courses. We have March 10th, March 10th. March 10th is the midterm due date. That's when assessments 1.1, 1.2, 2.1, 2.2, so everything in lesson 1, lesson 2, practices, all the practices in lesson 1, lesson 2, exam 1, project 1 are all due by the 10th. That is the midterm due date. The final due date is May 14th. May the 4th be with you plus 10 if you want to remember it. And that's where everything else is due. So all the assessments and practices from lessons 3, 4, 5, and 6, and practices and the exams 2 and 3, and projects 2 and 3 are going to be due on May 14th. All right, so that's March 10th and May 14th. Okay, those are the two important dates. FAQ, these are the quick hitters. When is everything due? Yes, again, it's March 10th for the midterm. That's everything from lessons 1 and 2, exam 1, project 1, and then we have May 14th. That's when everything, all the assessments and practices from lessons 3, 4, 5, and 6, projects 2 and 3, and exams 2 and 3 are due. All right. How do we do grading? Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to change in this. Oh, well, I'll change it right now in the video. How you like those apples? All right, so your grade is calculated. There's going to be the knowledge score is worth 34 points, the application score is worth 33 points, and the practice score is worth 33 points. Knowledge is calculated by averaging exam 1, 2, and 3 together. There you go. Average those 3 exams, we have our knowledge score. Application is calculated by averaging projects 1, 2, and 3 together. Average those 3 together, and we have our application score. That's 33 points. Your practice is calculated by averaging all your assessments, then comparing them with the knowledge score, and taking higher those 2 scores. Period. Then averaging it with the average of all your practices. All right. Did I spell averaging right? That's amazing. I didn't think I would, or maybe it's just taking a very long time to figure that out. Anyway, and then averaging it with all your practices. So we average all your practices. We average all your assessments. We take the assessments, the averaging of the assessments. We look at the knowledge score. The higher of the 2 gets applied for that score, and then we average it with the averages of your practices. Okay, so if you're pressed for time and you just can't get something done, assessments is the shortcut, right? Which maybe it's it might be a little unfair because assessments are a good way to study for the exams, because some of the tests you'll see again on the exams. All right. All right, let's hit submit. I gave enough time for spell checker to figure that one out. All right, what's your attendance policy? I do take attendance. I record how often you are in the system. Remember the term attendance. I'm going to apply it to both, contact with me, personal contact with me, showing up in person, and more importantly, being in the Blackboard system, right? If you're not in the Blackboard system, if you're not in communication with me, if I don't see you for 3 weeks, right, all those things for 3 weeks, then I do reserve the right to drop you. All right. So I'll be checking your last access time. So if I hit Grade Center right now, which I won't do because it shouldn't show anyone's grades. It'll show people's emails. I don't want to do that. It'll tell me the last access time. So I can go down the list and see when was the last time everyone accessed the system. All right. The best way to get a hold of me, for some reason that disappeared. Oh, that's weird. The best way to get a hold of me is via email, which is jjalbs@stick.edu. I do have a phone, but I am often not in my office, or I'm making videos, or I'm talking to a student, or I might be talking to Professor Candido down the hall. So point is, calling me is, and I'm not really great about checking my voicemails. The best way to contact me is certainly by email. I do have listed, all right, how can I contact you? That's weird. I wonder if that's true in all the courses. So there you go. Did it go through and actually correct average? I'm still not believing I scored average incorrect. All right. All right. So there you go. This is my. I actually have my schedule here. It's also in the syllabus. So there you go. If I have to explain the jokes, they're not funny. Those are jokes. All right. Let's look at the course syllabus. So again, this is saying a lot of things I was saying earlier. Let's talk about assets. Requisite asset, you need a laptop. Hopefully you're viewing this on a laptop now. You're going to need a laptop, not just particularly in this class, because we're going to be running not just like a Chromebook, because we're going to be running GNS3. What operating system? I'm personally running Linux. Windows will be fine. Mac might be a bit of a pinch, but maybe you should be able to do it. So a laptop would be required. Access to Blackboard. Hopefully that's how you're viewing this now, and the internet in general. Attendance, we talked about that. Now, recommended assets. So it being recommended, what does that mean? Well, it means that you don't have to have this. It's a book. Let me show you the format of the course. If I go into lessons, lesson 1, for example. and then like we'll go topic 2, which I haven't completely got up yet. Topic 2, all right, or topic 1. So we have summary. We're going to have terminology. Let me make this look like what the student should see. All right, lessons, better. Topic 2 is still showing up. All right, so summary, terminology. These are all terms that we're going to be going over in the very first topic. So these are like your definition words, your vocabulary words, whatever you want to call them in different courses. In this case, we're going to call them terminology. As we often do in the world of IT, we use our terminology and our buzz phrases as black ink to like a squid and squirting it and running away. So these are our technical terms that we can throw out there. But there are also important things like what exactly is NVRAM, and we'll be talking a lot about NVRAM. So it is important to know these terminologies, and they'll come back. The assessments will have a lot of those questions. All right. Concepts, where did Cisco come from? Sources. So if you notice, we have our terminology, our concepts, our sources. This is where the sources I got. I'm going to have a lecture to go along with for every topic. The practice will be essentially practice, lab, practice, interchangeable. I'm just going to call them practices, sorry. So we'll have a practice. We're going to spend a lot of time in a program called GNS3, which there's going to be a separate video in the precursory. I'll give you a quick look at it. I got to run a virtual machine. That's what I'm doing right now. I don't have to run a virtual machine, but I do if I want all the Cisco equipment that I'm going to be using. So I'll hit stick. Let's bring up a project. I'll do it the proper way. So we'll bring up 1.2 from 162. Or we'll 2.1. Let's grab 2.1. I'm going to duplicate it. That way I don't make changes to the original. I'll do JJA and today's date, which is 1/23, I believe. There we go. Okay, I hit OK, and then let it duplicate. As you can see, it's contacting the virtual machine. That's actually the work is being done on the virtual machine. There's just a window onto the virtual machine. There I am. Now I'm going to open this up. Hopefully I have something. There I am. Okay, so this is the practice we're going to be actually doing. So this is example GNS3. It's a network simulator. I can start my little router. I can open up a console to it, and it's going to be booting up right now. And this is a copy version of Cisco Ios. All right. There I am. Now I'm in. Okay. Plus I'll have little virtual workstations. Let me start that up, and then I'll double click on it. It boots ridiculously quick. It's got a little web browser, and if I click on this, it has a little terminal. I can do things like ping around. Okay, it's all very Linux based. As a matter of fact, it is Linux based. All right, so that's a little introduction to GNS3. There'll be more on that, especially in the precursory stuff. All right, so I'll have slides for the lecture. I'll have a little under this when I get them published. I'll have what you're seeing right here, a desktop presentation to go along with the lesson, and the assessment is going to be primarily questions about. I could have sworn I put. Yeah. So it's going to have questions in here, and you're also going to see matching to go with all those definitions that we had before. Okay, so there you go. That is what a topic looks like. But if you notice, at no point do I tell you to turn to a specific page, to do the lab on a specific page. You do not need the book. And as part of the lessons, I do, I dumped out. That's what that little bar underneath the bar up there was telling me. If you notice, I do list all my sources. In this case, I have that book as a source, and whenever I found it wanting, particularly in a definition up here, and defining the current certifications, I went to the Cisco source. So I have links to the Cisco webpage. Okay, so there you go. So I have a list of sources in here. So you don't necessarily need to buy this book. If you do buy the book, it's on Packet Publishing's website, which is and they're relatively inexpensive. That's why I choose them. Again, I don't choose them because they're the best book. I choose them because bang for buck, they're new. They're constantly being updated by new books. I want to go to information research, and I want to go here. And they're being constantly updated. So. And often they're ridiculously low prices like $5 there. So if I grab the title and do a quick search on that, let's see what the current price is. Welcome to the 24. Oh, should have gave it some time. It's thinking. It's running a little slow today. All right. Anyway, so again, not required. You can get it if you want. Help you read along as we go through. Yeah, it's currently on sale for $5. All right. Expectations. Again, I'm fine with students working together. If you are working with a student, they ask you, they don't understand a question, particularly in a exam situation, or ideally an exam you're in separate areas. But in a assessment or a project, if they don't understand something, if you ask a pointed question to help them understand it, that is awesome. That is great. If you instead tell them the answer, that is bad, right? Now, those are the extremes, right? And it's finding that proper gray area. But that's the example. Okay, never give a direct answer to another student as far as what's the answer to number 3. But if you sit there and they say, I don't understand number 3, you can read it and you're like, oh, remember, NVRAM is non-volatile, right? You can do something like that. Okay, there you go. Particularly on the projects, by the way, try to avoid copying, pasting, or changing just enough so the idiot professor won't notice. All right. Maintenance and viability of the student's laptop is the student's responsibility. I got to fix that. And not the responsibility of the professor. The professor will notify students of any required deadlines or attendance ahead of time. Shall I repeat the dates? March 10th and May 14th. March 10th is the midterm due date. May 14th is the final due date. The students will not behave in a disruptive manner. The professor will fairly evaluate each student individually and maintain a transparent system of grading. All grading will take place in Blackboard. You can access that in your link down here, My Grades. Okay, which I won't have any because I'm. But here's your running final score. Here's your knowledge score. Here's your application score. Here's your practice score. All right. It should have the due dates on most of these. Some of these snuck by me. I got to put a due date on that. All right. All participants will maintain a professional, respectful environment. Bigotry, discrimination, violence, or intimidation of any type will not be tolerated. All right. Again, we talked about evaluation. Here are the week by week rough schedule of what we're going to be doing. 16 whole weeks. Case in point, we're doing introductions. That's what we're doing now, and precursors. That's what we're going to be doing Friday. I'll be releasing that information. I'll be sending out announcements when I do release information, when I do update the course, because this is going to be. We're gonna build as we go, as you saw, and some of the things, and especially with the desktop presentations. I have all the other stuff built out. I just got to put it in the Blackboard. But the desktop presentations we'll be doing them as we go through. So, and every week I'll be pestering you with announcements. You'll see an announcement in here with my silly memes, trying to make a little fun of it. And I'll be pestering you on a weekly basis, telling you what we're currently working on. Again, your time is your time, though. You manage your time. Right. However, those due dates are hard and fast. I will not budge on those due dates. So I'm giving you flexibility. Right. So to ask for flexibility on May 13th, you've already had flexibility. Okay. But if you're going to miss significant time, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a good semester. And if you have any questions or comments or problems, feel free to send me an email at jjalves@stick.edu. All right. Bye.